I'll let you go 1 or 2 blocks and I can run and chase after you. But girlfriend, if you go 6 blocks, my little legs can't run that fast.
Well, I can't go 6 blocks because I've only got 10 seconds to talk. Welcome to another episode of Bitches in the Kitchen.
I'm Janet.
I'm Chris. And today we are re-recording something that should have been recorded but wasn't recorded. Did you catch all that?
It makes us human.
Yes. And the lesson that we were to learn with Mesa is that I'm supposed to talk for 10 seconds and she's supposed to talk for 10 seconds and I have to trust that she's going to answer my question.
And we really tried to re-record this intro, but my hair was really different, and so we decided not to dupe you. So this is a after recorded, pre-record to the episode that you're seeing now. Does that make any sense?
No! So this episode is about us getting better, and you guys get to witness us trying to practice getting better at what we're trying to do. Welcome to another episode of Bitches in the Kitchen.
I'm Janet.
I'm Chris. We're Zooming. We have a meeting today, a very important meeting with our...
That sounded so Alice in Wonderland. I have a date, very important date.
Tell them what we're doing. I'm trying to do something.
Today we are meeting with our videographer because every so often we need counseling. And so apparently we are now in a position where we need to learn from the experts, which is Mesa, who we refer to, but you've never met.
There she is.
Hi, Mesa. Cheers. Happy California.
Yes.
Cheers.
Oh, what are you drinking?
She's probably drinking water.
Nuh-uh.
No, it's an Arnold Palmer.
Will you record us? We're going to use this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we forgot to warn you.
Yeah, thanks, ladies.
Sorry about that. All right, so we read your email. Oh my gosh, that was so hilarious.
Where are you? I'm sorry, where are you?
This is my room. Oh yeah, you guys have never seen my little setup. So
Yeah.
I have a loft bed. So that's bed. And then I have my work space underneath.
I feel like it's like adult dorming.
Yeah,
It is like adult
exactly.
room.
Putting on some lip gloss too.
I mean, I loved what you did. We obviously have a lot of work to do.
We suck.
You guys are just creating more work for yourselves. That's all.
So to make sure I understand correctly, I should talk for 10 seconds and she should talk for 10 seconds.
I think the
Right.
key word there is only 10 seconds.
Yes, I do think
Yeah,
that.
10 seconds is the maximum. It feels like a not long amount of time. If you're trying to say a lot, you can't make a point in that amount of time. But you can bounce the ball. You only say one piece of information at a time so that each of you are forced to build off of each other so that when you yes and, it's yes, I take what you're saying, and I'm going to add an additional piece of information to it.
It's funny what you said in the
Email,
the top part before you broke it all down, is that a lot of what we do sounds Toastmasterish, but in some sense, teaching people how to do this in Toastmasters is also beneficial.
Yes, and you could introduce this in your mentoring sessions right
Yes.
now.
And that would be a really great topic for next week. Ta-da! We did it! The end. That's all I can do.
What you just did is exactly what it is.
I'm going to say something that you're going to disagree with so we can practice.
That's mostly everything.
Isn't this the best cocktail you've ever started your day with?
Yes, and this is a good cocktail considering I was planning something different for us today.
Yes, and I will be very interested to move on to that cocktail after we're finished with this one.
Janet, the information that she's offered to me so far is that she thinks it's a great cocktail. It was not what you guys were originally planning to make. You're looking forward to trying to make the one that you were originally planning to make. So what I want to know next as an audience, as someone who's listening to this, is what was the cocktail that you were planning to make originally? Tell me about that. What went wrong? What is in this particular
I was going to say,
cocktail?
they don't even know what we're drinking. So
Yeah. So there's a lot of information that I can still have, and then so if you guys keep going off of it, that's how you get there, because that's the only way you guys are going to know if you're on the same page. And that's why keeping it in these short bite-sized bits is going to help you out.
Could she have said, even though it's not yes and, could Chris in this exercise chosen another filler and said, it's delicious, but it wasn't what I was expecting? Trigger pong, ping pong, to me to say, well, what is it that you were expecting? So it's not an and, it was a but. Do we need to get hung up on the yes and? No.
You can disagree with the other person and still yes and. Or you can say something negative, you're acknowledging the other person, and here's a piece of additional information I can add to it. I did this, yes, and this happened, yes, and this. And then from there, you can phase out actually saying like yes and.
So ultimately, when we get good at this, the yes and is just a silent spacer.
Right. Eventually you guys aren't even going to be thinking about that. It's going to become
more
such
natural.
a natural thing. There'll be times where it's like you two just haven't listened to each other, and so the conversation just stops. It like derails. But on the same token, there are times where you guys say like, isn't this great? Yeah, I love these. Oh my gosh, we tried them the other day. And then we all recognize those patterns in normal conversation. We recognize if the conversation is going well or maybe not going well, and both of them can be funny and entertaining. You ladies know each other well enough.
That's part of the problem.
To answer a question,
I already know how she's going to react.
we always start with an idea. We start with a couple of things that we want to make sure that we talk about. What we don't do a lot of is we don't come up with a conclusion.
But sometimes we don't have a conclusion because it's inconclusive.
Yeah, but you still have to have an end of the video.
An ending,
yes,
not a conclusion, an ending.
okay, fine. Get hung up on word choice.
I want to be very clear on what we're taking away from our professional development.
I feel like a person that could come in, like that I walk in like on a special and be like, here's how that conversation could have gone. If they had done, if it helps you to come up with something beforehand, just so that you have it there if you need it, great. One thing that I've noticed in your videos is that it's almost like that feels like what you're worrying about, or you're have in the back of your mind that the video has to have a purpose or a meaning or a message. What ends up happening is you guys manage to find like 10 messages throughout the course of the video. So I will hear, like, as I'm editing the footage, I'll hear, maybe that's what this video's about, is about this. And I'm like, okay, you could have just, like, let it happen.
It's like, oh, look at this shirt. Oh, but look at this shirt. Oh, this outfit would be great.
Oh my God.
It can be just like, we're going to make a cocktail. It's just, how do we make this cocktail? Through that, whatever's going on in your minds during the day or during when you're filming is going to inform whatever the video's about or whatever the message is, because it's as simple as, we wanted to get together, we made this cocktail, and then at the end, this was really nice, wasn't it? Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it didn't go perfectly. Yeah, but who cares? It was really fun, right? And then if you want to turn it into an after school special, I guess even though things go wrong, we can still have fun.
An after school special. I love that show, by
Now
the
we
way.
get to Sesame Street.
No, that's your thing.
They can take away the message of the episode without you having to spell it out for them. And
Gotcha.
sometimes that's enough, and that's even better, is if I see two women who are having a great time, in my head as an audience, I'm thinking like, oh, wow, this episode got totally derailed for them. Look what they made out of it despite that. Your audience is going to get that message without you having to say anything to them. Right now, worry about, are you guys just communicating with each other, and are you having a good time? You both have like this game plan in your head of how it should go, and then you're missing what's happening.
Gotcha.
We've heard that from Drew before.
It's true.
He and I are in cahoots.
Probably.
I want to try this exercise though. I'll keep track of time, so tell me about your day so far.
Go ahead. You go first.
So the morning was a wake-up call to, when I saw Chris, to sharing that we are in fact the sandwich generation. She taking care of little people, and I'm about to take over.
All right, time.
And my day started because I was hosting a mentor meeting this morning for a bunch of brand new Toastmasters, and it was busy and got my day derailed, and so I was running late to get to Janet's.
Time.
Yes, but you arrived perfectly, and I was late too, so it worked out fine, except that we were both hungry.
Yes, and we did have to make a meal when we got here, and then we decided to discuss what Mesa had sent us because we were both struggling with the topic today.
Awesome. So stop right there. Already,
I won because you went off on your day. You didn't build
you
off
guys
of mine.
both lose. You both lost.
Mesa, I never win. Can't I just win once?
You would like your participation trophy. The participation trophy goes to Janet. Good job, Janet. So
I was too long.
already in that.
I was too
Yeah.
long. Okay, can
So
we try it
already
again?
I've got
Wait,
it.
let's try it again without you telling us what to do.
All right.
Over.
All right,
You
go.
ready?
Do over. How has your morning been, ladies?
I learned what it's like to prepare my life to take care of my mother.
I learned how to mentor 9 people that are brand new to Toastmasters.
And we both learned something extraordinary this morning, and it's impacting our day.
What did we learn?
We learned monumental, life-changing patterns, and we're going to have some work to do.
You mean with our business?
I think this is more life skill than business.
I would agree with that.
I mean, my mother's going to move here. My life is about to change.
You can talk to her in 10-second increments.
Just as your life has already changed, and I'm learning from you.
That's true. My life has changed because of having little people.
And your little people is really no different than me taking on the responsibility of my mother.
It is very much the same.
So now empathy is something that we share about each other's lives, even though not concurrently.
That's true. But we have a lot to offer by having those experiences.
Yes, and more to come. But now we get to learn together rather than you having your life and me having mine.
The way I deal with my little people is going to be the very same way you deal with your mother.
Exactly my point. Because we are the sandwich generation, I'm learning from you, and I thank you for that.
I think he made that shit up, though. I've never heard that.
The sandwich generation?
Yes.
Oh, it's a thing. Look it up.
All right, how was that?
All right. Okay. You guys did a really great job of shortening your sentences. And even though, Chris, there was a moment where you weren't sure which direction Janet was going, see how much faster you guys are able to get on the same page. Both of you started with very separate things.
Right.
And then you were forced to pick, are those two stories that go hand in hand, or
Right.
are they separate? And if so, what's the one that you guys want to focus on for this?
Sure, that makes
I
sense.
think you guys got there though. When Chris said, all right, we're talking about the fact that Janet's mom is now living with her.
And that's where we ended the exercise, but the whole thing could have been a discussion about the sandwich generation.
We're both very strong, opinionated people because that's our way of communicating. And so for us to learn, you're saying, well, let me hear what you have to say. I'm going to add to it, but I'm putting what you say ahead of what I'm saying.
It's about time you learned that.
If you take and put the other person first and still add your part, then you will have a cohesive exchange, if you will.
Exactly. Chris, you did a really great job of doing that and saying, okay, this isn't my time. I'm letting Janet speak about this thing. Janet, from your side, you were leading a lot of the conversation. Part of that was helping Chris get on the same page. At the same time, you can help Chris out by also making it about her. So you both have agreed, right? Taking care of your mother and having little people in the house you guys are dealing with, and you both deal with these things in similar ways. So Janet can open it up for Chris and say, what's something that you've learned? Or I've learned that I've had to be really patient when I'm dealing with my mother. Chris can say, I've learned the same, with the kids. One thing that they do is this.
Right.
How do you handle that?
Right.
Yeah.
So
I wasn't comfortable asking questions at this point. I haven't internalized the skill yet.
it brings the two stories together. I'm still telling the story of kids. She's still telling the story of her mother, but we meet in the middle.
It doesn't matter how long it takes for you guys to get on the same page.
Gotcha.
So if we try this again, this time I want to make it
Why is
even
that
more of
different?
a focused thing. How did you make the drink that you're drinking now?
It's always hard when you come in to choose the beverage that we're going to drink because there are so many to choose from.
That's true, but today we needed to go with something simple because we're just now having breakfast.
Well, which is why I chose vodka. We can hold a shit ton of vodka and still function.
But then you decided to add tomato juice just because it's morning?
Because I felt like it legitimized the beverage. It sounded healthy.
And then the celery stick got added just so we could call it something?
A BM.
No.
It was V8 and vodka, otherwise known as a very elementary Bloody Mary.
So we made the cocktail by starting out with just vodka.
Not just any vodka, Castle and Key vodka, which is our current favorite.
It is a current favorite. Then she wanted the experiment of adding a can of soda that she dropped on the floor.
Oh, I forgot about that part. Did you know that when you tap on the top of it, it's supposed to diffuse the bubbles?
So Janet tried that, and then she said, I'm too afraid to open it. And
Because
I said,
you grabbed the camera and you wanted to capture that moment, and then it was going to explode all over the equipment.
she moved to the sink, and I still recorded it.
And you chased me into the kitchen to capture the explosion.
And then we added it to the drink.
No, we didn't. I just added the tomato juice, shoved a celery in it, and said, "Here, bitch, turn on the computer."
Apparently it doesn't.
It's just V8, spicy V8, ice, vodka, and a half a celery stalk.
There you go.
Awesome. Already, can you feel a little bit of the difference with it?
Yes, it feels a little robotic for me still,
Yeah, a little robotic.
but I can see how it will get better.
Even this time, I'm impressed. Both of you have to think, how am I helping the other person?
Right.
Because if you're helping the other person, it's going to get way easier.
What I personally think I will struggle with is you went off on the soda, which wasn't part of the actual ingredient list, right? So you dropped a bomb, like a little bomb in my linear processing of what I was hoping to answer. And then we ultimately came back to what was in the drink. So the trust for me is that it's okay to take a field trip as long as you always remember that there was a subject on the table that can't get left ignored.
Correct.
It doesn't have to be stated.
And then we just trust that the other one's going to help us get there. That we're both trying to see the same ending and trust that we're going to get there.
This was so good.
So in other words, you can go 1 block away, but you can't go 6 blocks away. I'll let you go 1 or 2 blocks and I can run and chase after you. But girlfriend, if you go 6 blocks, my little legs can't run that fast.
Well, I can't go 6 blocks because I've only got 10 seconds to talk. So we're going about a block and a half, darling. So, all right. Well, have a wonderful day in California, and we're going to finish up this drink.
Awesome. You too. Enjoy.
We have more to film.
Yes.
And plus.
Yes.
And
Oh, wait. 10
yes,
seconds.
and.
Yes,
Yes,
and.
and.
Yes, and.
Yes, and we have more to film.
And yes, we have more to drink.
Yes, and I'm going to leave you ladies to it.
Okay. Thanks, Mesa.
Thank you.
Bye. guys.
We learned a lot.
We did learn a lot. So, Mesa, God bless you, Mesa. We love you. Thank you so much for supporting us and helping us. We don't say that enough. So the whole point is this. Whatever you do, do it better. Get better at it.
Developing, creating, maintaining a community with all of you. It's a job and we take it seriously. So we are always looking to better ourselves. This was our practice.
When someone offers advice about how to change, improve, look at, consider it, because it probably comes from love and care and genuinely wanting to help someone be better, which, come on, Mesa does. Look how much she loves us.
Of course she does.
We love you too.
When you see the chance, take it.
Yes, and.
Yes, and maybe we'll get better. Do they know who Mesa is?
Yes, of course they know who Mesa is. Mesa is who edits all of this brilliant material that she delivers every week for all of you to enjoy.
I'm sorry, the modifier was misplaced. Mesa is the brilliant editor. Our content is not brilliant.
Yes, and.